instead of using fossil fuel. We're told we should use what they call clean energy. Wind, solar, and hydropower. Hydro is the most reliable because unlike wind and solar, water power is steady. But now, politicians want to destroy dams and their hydropower.
The federal government recommending swift action on the lower Snake River dams.
We're moving 4 dams.
We need to breach those dams, and we need to do it now. Now's the time. Our fish are on the line.
Activists claim the dams threaten the Snake River. They call it
the most endangered river in this country
because they say the dams are
decimating the salmon population.
It's true that pregnant fish need to swim upriver to have their babies, and now there are dams in the way. But still, today, most fish pass. How?
Well, there are ladders on the dams that allow passage.
Todd Myers of the Washington Policy Center has worked for decades on salmon recovery. Recovery includes
new innovative surface passage structures for fish
and fish ladders that help fish get past the dams.
We have made so much progress that we can have salmon recovery and the electricity it provides.
But using the word recover makes it sound like there was this horrible decimation.
There was.
When dams were first built, without the innovations that keep fish away from the turbines, lots of salmon were killed. But that's no longer true. Today,
between 96 and 98% of the salmon successfully pass each dam, which is why the federal scientific agencies say that salmon will recover with the dams in place.
But gullible media still repeat the activists' claim.
The salmon population near extinction.
It's simply not true. All you have to do is to go and look at the actual population numbers to know that that's absurd.
Here they are. Although the first dams did kill lots of salmon, in recent years, salmon numbers have been higher than they were in the 80s or 90s. But somehow, government media claim
salmon numbers are so low that tribal biologists say some species have reached a quasi-extinction threshold.
They make these claims because they know people will believe them.
Just sounds right.
Yeah, exactly. They don't even need to check it. They just absolutely believe it.
Extinction of salmon are unacceptable.
They've never been closer to extinction than they are today.
People don't want to believe that their favorite environmental group is dishonest.
We don't, but some are. They raise money by scaring people, even when their fear-mongering is totally wrong. In 1999, environmental groups took out this ad saying salmon will be extinct by 2017.
And yet, 2015, 2016, 2017, populations were higher than in 1999.
Did the environmentalists apologize?
No, they repeat almost the exact same arguments today, they just changed the dates.
We invited 10 activist groups that want to destroy the dams to come here and defend their claims about salmon going extinct. Not one would agree. And I guess I understand why, because they've already convinced the public. Calling in from France, Australia, about the Snake River Dam? In the court of public opinion, they're winning.
We're up against a lot. It's very difficult.
It's so dumb. We waste billions on pointless things like environmental subsidies that mostly help rich people. And now politicians want to waste billions destroying dams?
There is no viable path that can allow us to keep the dams in place.
We keep doing dumb things. We put money into places where it doesn't have an environmental impact. And then we wonder, 10, 20, 30 years, why we haven't made any environmental progress.
They're willing to tear down these dams even though they generate tons of clean electricity.
Almost the same amount as all of the wind and solar turbines in Washington State. Imagine if I told the environmental community, we need to tear down every wind turbine and every solar panel in the state. They would lose their minds. But that's essentially what they're advocating by tearing down the Snake River dams.
They say just build more wind turbines.
The problem is that several times a year, there's no wind.
Things are heating up, and it's only going to get hotter from here.
We saw this recently when we had a hot streak, and the wind disappeared for 3 or 4 days. So you can build 10 times as many wind turbines, but if there's no wind, there's no electricity. Hydro, you can turn on and off whenever it's needed. So destroying hydro and replacing it with wind makes absolutely no sense. It'll do serious damage to our electrical grid for a tiny benefit to salmon. And yet they're willing to pay all of those costs.
It's not their money.
Exactly. If you want to spend $35 billion on salmon, there's lots of things we can do that would have a real impact.
Like,
Seals and sea lions.
they eat lots of salmon.
The Washington Academy of Sciences says that unless we reduce the populations, we will not recover salmon.
People used to hunt the sea lions.
Yeah, and that's why the populations are higher today than they were 200 years ago.
The public doesn't want you shooting sea lions.
That's exactly right.
So instead, politicians push destroying dams.
Because it's sexy and dramatic. It sells. It's more about feeling good than environmental results.
The environmental activists raise money by scaring people. I've covered their fear-mongering many times and will continue to do so. If you want to help us do that, click that button.